You know, we talk about aging backwards a lot, but do you know what the key aspects of aging really are? There are 12 of them, and I want to go through them with you really quickly because it's such an exciting field, this field of longevity. So let's get to it, and in future videos, we can deep dive into some of these because there are supplements, protocols, and things that you can do to help mitigate, reverse these hallmarks of aging. Number one, genome instability. As we age, the error rate in our DNA replication piles up. It gets worse and worse, the errors. And when this happens, it causes cells to be unable to create the proteins that our bodies need to maintain health. And even cancerous cells can develop. I'm going to be looking at my notes too because there's a lot of information here. So this is number one, genome instability. The error rate of DNA replication in our body that increases as we age. Number two, telomere shortening. You may have heard this term, telomere. It's the caps on the ends of the strands of our chromosomes. These caps protect the chromosome strands from fraying. It also keeps the strands from tangling or sticking to other DNA strands, chromosome strands, which would be terrible. But as we age, these telomere strands get shorter and shorter, and it makes the body less and less able to repair itself. So again, this affects aging, and it accelerates aging as it happens. Number three, epigenetic alterations. The epigenome is this totality of expressed and unexpressed, the expressed and unexpressed genes in the body. Unlike our and our pet's genome, which is set in stone from when we're born, the epigenetics can be altered by lifestyle, things like diet, supplements, protocols. So we are learning how to, through these various methods, encourage the expression of genes that resemble youth and suppress the suppression of genes that have to do with aging. Super fascinating. Epigenetic alterations. Aging happens as more and more of these genes that have to do with aging are expressed in the body. Number four, loss of proteostasis. The proteome in the body is the variety of proteins needed by the body to perform a host of functions for health and survival, immune system function, how food is metabolized in the body. Proteins are folded in a specific way. And as we age, the tendency for the folds to become unfolded or improperly folded happens more and more. And this ability to maintain proper folding is called proteostasis. But when that's compromised, things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cataracts, and other diseases can result. So loss of this proteostasis is a hallmark of aging. Number five, deregulated nutrient sensing. So nutrient sensing is the body's biochemical response to food that triggers the release of compounds that help the body take in the nutrients from food and use it for bodily functions. Aging can sometimes cause a state where the body doesn't respond properly to cycles of eating and not eating, and that means that the body is in a state of imbalance. This delicate balance involves the removal of old cells and the growth of new replacement cells. Now, specific proteins are required for this. Proteins that trigger cell growth, proteins that trigger cell repair, proteins that trigger cell removal. And things like eating and fasting and exercise are triggers for these proteins. So this nutrient sensing can get deregulated as we age. Number 6, mitochondrial dysfunction. The mitochondria, you've heard that word before, it's these structures inside of cells that produce a compound called ATP, which provides the energy for the cell to function. When a cell is beyond repair, they become known as senescent or ghost cells. And we're going to cover this more in a later hallmark of aging. But senescent cells accumulate as we age, and it leads to problems with inflammation and other issues. Senescent cells can also influence cells that are next door, close in proximity, causing them to become senescent. So you can see as we age, we have more and more senescent cells. Fewer and fewer functioning cells means decreased functioning in the body. Number 7, stem cell exhaustion. Stem cells, as we know, are able to become any kind of cell in the body, and they go where the body most needs them to repair. Stem cell therapy is a really big part of regenerative medicine. As we age, our body makes fewer and fewer stem cells. We need more and more stem cells to combat these other hallmarks of aging. So unless we can stimulate the growth of more stem cells, and there's a way to do that, it is going to greatly affect aging. Number 8, altered intercellular communication. As we age, our cells start losing the ability to properly communicate with each other, and therefore to communicate the needs of the body. Hence, another hallmark of aging. Number 9, compromised autophagy. You may have heard that word. Autophagy is the body's ability to process and get rid of damaged cells. They either get consumed or recycled. It's triggered through intermittent fasting or longer fasting. And it's a very important part of this process of getting rid of these senescent or ghost cells. Hence, big hallmark of aging. As we age, that autophagy is compromised. Number 10, microbiome disturbance. We've all heard the term gut microbiome. It is really just the population of bacteria living in the gastrointestinal tract. And we now know that all good and poor health stems from the gut. So when the balance of friendly to unfriendly bacteria is off, when there are byproducts known as proteobacteria in abundance, or things like pathogens like parasites in abundance, it affects our health systemically. Number 11, altered mechanical properties. Now this is really interesting. There's a term called mechanobiology, and it refers to this sort of intricate scaffolding-like structure between and within cells that allows for the transport of proteins and other really important compounds so the body can function. When this breaks down, as it can do as we age, the body can't operate optimally, and that leads to dysfunction and aging. This mechanical properties this mechanobiology is a relatively new area of study in longevity. It's very exciting. Number 12, last one, splicing dysregulation. This refers to changes in RNA, which is the middleman for the DNA. It reads the DNA codes that create the proteins that the DNA codes for to operate the body. When changes in RNA occur and keep occurring more and more, splicing dysregulation is the result, which affects the proteins, the integrity of the proteins that are created. This leads to protein dysfunction and aging. So there you have it, the 12 known hallmarks of aging. In another video, we'll go into breaking them down a little bit more. But this is a fascinating form of the study of longevity that's happening right now in humans. And in several of these, there are things we can do in our pets as well to help mitigate these issues. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned a little something. And I'd love comments on what you think of this. Have a beautiful day.